For us, it's a daily thing.
It's every day, right?
This is Mammoth Daily
We're going to take you inside the locker room
with Mike Fulta.
We want this show to be about the fans, and we want this show to be driven by our Utah Mammoth community.
And Adrian Denny.
Fans can submit what they want to hear us talk about, what they want to hear Utah weigh in on. It's all going to be here.
Here's Mike and AD with you.
Utahns, countrymen, lend me your ears.
Right here on Mammoth Daily.
Welcome into our Thursday expert show here on Mammoth Daily. We'll get to Dave Joseph, the public address announcer for the Utah Mammoth. A really fun chat with Dave coming up, but a whole bunch to get to here to lead off our show. I'm Mike Fulta. He's Adrian Denny. We are your Hockey Night in Utah radio crew. We have the Washington Capitals in town tonight. We'll set the table for that matchup in just a bit. But Adrian, we had some big news come down the mail chute the other day, just yesterday, actually. On Wednesday, it was announced that Michael Hrabal, former second-round pick of the Arizona Coyotes, a 6'7" goaltender playing at the University of Massachusetts, has signed his entry-level contract with the Utah Mammoth. So we had that news. We had Daniil Boot getting called up as well. But let's start with Hrabal, Adrian. That was the first news that we saw. The Hockey East goaltender of the year, absolutely dominant at the NCAA level this year, and he's headed to Tucson.
Yeah, we're going to put him right to work, Mike. He signs that 3-year entry-level contract that'll kick in for next year. He's going to the Roadrunners on a PTO. They've got the Ontario Reign in town on Friday and Saturday, and they're looking to make that final push into the playoffs. So the big 6'7" goaltender going to be a big part of that. And Mike, we just had him on Mammoth Daily last week. Joined us for the Odd Man Rush as he played in the Hockey East tournament. They got defeated 2-0 on Friday. So his season came to an end, and inking that 3-year contract with the Mammoth, and excited to get him going, playing pro hockey. It's we talked about the 6 first-rounders, but from a goaltender standpoint, he is the future, and he's the first big prospect that's going to be playing pro hockey at a big time of year for Tucson in the AHL.
So professional tryout, that's a PTO for Michael Hrabal in Tucson. AD, do you want to explain that a little bit more? Can play, 25 games on the PTO in the AHL?
Yeah, and so signing him at this time of year, there's not really a concern that you're going to have that run out or elapse, right? Because the season's down to less than a month remaining, and then you have the playoffs. And so it's just a way to kind of maximize the situation. And it's very common. You sign a player to a 3-year entry-level contract, and his college season's done, or his junior season is done, and he's able to get right to work, and you can send him to your affiliate on a PTO, a professional tryout, and have him get started with the 3-year contract kicking in next year. It'll be year number 1 starting in the 26-27 season. But Mike, we've seen some stuff on the internet and social media today. There's some folks out there saying that he could be the best goalie in the world that's not in the NHL.
Hold on, we'll get to Alan Walsh here in a little bit. Let's run through some more kind of biographical things with Michael and some stats this year. Mentioned Hockey East goaltender of the year, Adrian. He had I think it was a .952 save percentage in conference play. He was 1/1000th off the save percentage record in conference play for Hockey East. A lot of tradition there. But a .937 save percentage through the year, 5th best goals against average in the NCAA, 3rd best save percentage, first ever UMass goalie, by the way, to earn Hockey East goaltender of the year. And Adrian, he talked to us in that interview about how it wasn't the best start to the year for him, but he kind of went back into the lab over Christmas and was much better in the second half. Since January 1st, a .958 save percentage for Hrabal. He allowed 2 goals or fewer in 15 of the 17 games that he played since January 1st. So great insight from him on kind of regrouping at the Christmas break. And Adrian, he is a finalist, one of 3 finalists, along with Trey Augustine from Michigan State and Josh Kutai from, I believe it's Kutai, from Augustana as well. So very elite company for Trey Augustine. You look back at some of the Mike Richter Award winners. That's the Vezina of college hockey. Connor Hellebuck, Thatcher Demko, Jeremy Swayman, Devin Levi won it back-to-back years. So some pretty elite company that he's a part of.
Yeah, and Mike, he was drafted in the second round in 2023, right after Bill Armstrong took Dmitry Sibyshev and Danil Boot. And we talked about, that's pretty high for a goalie, drafted 38th overall, and went back to UMass for a third year and graduated in sports management. So going to have the degree with him. So got the full college experience, went back to college for another season, could have signed after last season, but went back to UMass, had a really good season. His team had a really good season. You saw the picture when he signed the contract, surrounded by his team. So clearly a team guy that they're really excited for to move forward after a fun season. But you can't say enough about the value of the 3 years of playing D1 college hockey.
Yeah, you said it. He chose to go back, right? Kind of reminds me of another Czech goaltender, Karel Vejmelka, who chose to stay in the Czech Republic to get his master's degree before coming over to play professionally in North America. But a couple more notes on Michael Hrabal. Mentioned how he had a much better second half. AD, how about this? He helped UMass go from last place in the Hockey East standings to second place. So not just him personally with that big jump, but he kind of led his team back. On February 28th, made 50 saves against the Yukon Huskies. So he has that big game in him as well. And you mentioned they lost to Merrimack in the tournament. The only reason they lost is because they got shut out. And Merrimack went on to win the tournament for the first time, I think, ever, maybe. First time in a while, at least, for Merrimack. But a great college season. And AD, didn't you get the sense talking to him that he really liked UMass? Like, he was really focused. Obviously, their season was still going on, but he was really focused on being a Minuteman.
And Mike, his numbers each year of college got better. Goals against average freshman year, 2.59, 2.37 his sophomore year, 1.95 his junior year that he's graduating in. Save percentage, even more impressive, 912 freshman year, 924 sophomore year, 937 junior year. So the incremental improvement, and he's 21 years old. Like, the consistency there, like it's not uncommon from a freshman year to a sophomore year to see numbers dip a little bit, kind of go up and down, but the consistency that he had, and it's the first thing he said. First question, Mike, he comes out to us and says, first half of the year wasn't what I wanted to be, but I went back and retuned over Christmas and got things back on track.
I was curious, and so I asked some folks who had seen him, who had gotten to see him play collegiately over the last few years out east. Like, what'd you think of him? Because I want to know about his skating. He's a big guy, 6'7", but how athletic is he? How does he move? And the report was that he moves really, really well. And we got to see him a little bit in dev camp, and that's kind of the feeling I got. Sometimes you see these 6'7" guys, Adrian, and they're kind of gargoyles in net, and a lot of stuff just kind of happens to hit them. But when the play moves side to side, they really struggle. But it sounds like he's a pretty good skater for his size. And everybody, all the reports that I heard from reaching out to people out east said that he's a stud. And Adrian, I know people are anxious to maybe see what he can do at the NHL level, but it's pretty common for goalies to take a little bit longer to ripen. I use Yaroslav Askarov, the goalie with San Jose that we're both fans of, because he spent some time in the AHL. We believe in him after his AHL body work. And he was drafted 11th overall. That's one of the highest goaltenders selected in the last few years. And even he spent, basically 2 full seasons in the minors, parts of 3 in the AHL. And Now, obviously, that's why he eventually got out of Nashville, because he didn't want to be in the minor leagues anymore. But it is pretty standard for goalies to see a lot of time in the American Hockey League before they make it up to the NHL.
Yeah, and it's to have the month sample size here just to get him acquainted with the organization, with professional hockey. That's a big thing too, right? We obviously wish that they would have won the tournament and moved on to the NCAA tournament, but season ended, and to be able to get him at the games that he's going to be playing, with the meaning to those games for the Roadrunners, who are playing really good right now, and they're in kind of the would you say, Mike, the Atlantic division of the American Hockey League in the Pacific right now. They're 6 games above 500, but a couple points out of a playoff spot. So we'll see if he can push him over the top.
Yeah, let's get to the comments, the quote you were on your way towards explaining a little bit ago, because you were quoting Alan Walsh, who, if you don't know, is an agent for Octagon. It's one of the big sports agencies. He actually represents a number of Mammoth, JJ Peterka, Sean Dursey, Nick DeSimone, and he also represents Michael Hrabal. He used to represent, famously, Marc-Andre Fleury. There was a famous picture that he posted of Fleury with a sword through his stomach that was edited in when he thought that Fleury had been betrayed by Vegas, I think it was, at the time. But Alan Walsh, Michael Hrabel's agent, had this to say. Many NHL scouts feel Michael Hrabal is the best goalie in the world outside of the NHL. That's about to change. A goalie has not had such a dominant season since Ken Dryden at Cornell. Now, Adrian, why does Walsh make this comparison to Ken Dryden?
Tell me, Mike.
Okay, I will. 3 years at Cornell for Ken Dryden. Michael Hrabal, 3 years at UMass. Ken Dryden then went on to play a full year in the American Hockey League. Then he finished his first pro season in the NHL, played like 6 regular season games with the Montreal Canadiens, and then led the 1971 Montreal Canadiens to a Stanley Cup in his rookie season and won the Conn Smythe Award as a goaltender and as a rookie in that 1971 Stanley Cup playoff run. So Alan Walsh, Michael Hrabel's agent, is trying to do right by his client and is basically using that analogy of Ken Dryden to say, here is a young stud coming out of college who can play in the NHL sooner rather than later and be dominant sooner rather than later.
6 Stanley Cups for Mr. Dryden. He had a remarkable NHL career. 258 wins, 57 losses, 74 ties. He was a 3rd-round pick of Boston, but taken 14th overall, Mike, because there were only 6 teams in 1964.
Yeah, you got to dig into the overall selection numbers there. But I think it's more the timing that Alan Walsh is trying to get in here. He's saying, yeah, he's going to Tucson, but
sure,
look at the precedent that Ken Dryden sent 50 years ago, quickly becoming a playoff hero for the Canadiens at the end of that season. So just explaining that comparison if you happen to see Alan Walsh's tweet on Wednesday morning.
I liked it. It's the agent's, Alan is, he's a messenger. He's a communicator. He's active on social media. And for Utah fans, that's a tweet I think they're going to like in particular.
Yeah, it's the agent's job to do right by the player and to try to get them as good of a situation as possible. So just kind of a fun little history project there. But Michael Hrabal, 3-year entry-level contract. It starts next year, as Adrian was saying. He'll report to Tucson on that PTO. One quick thing, too. A PTO can end whenever the team wants it to end. There's no contract length to a PTO. And if Michael Hrabal, say, was to get pulled up to the Mammoth, he would sign then another PTO with the Utah Mammoth. So that's how that works. Anything else on Michael Hrabal, the goaltender, before we get to Daniil Boot's recall?
Yeah, just can't wait to watch him this weekend. Roadrunners playing Ontario, AHL affiliate of the LA Kings at home, and then they've got a lengthy road trip, and then 2 games left at home the rest of the year. So he's going to spend a lot of time on the road. He's going to get used to cities like San Diego, Bakersfield, Ontario. So he'll get to see the West Coast because he's been to Omaha, Nebraska. He's been up and down Hockey East. You know how it is out there in New England, Mike. The foliage, the older buildings. It's different out east than it is out west with all of our strip malls and all of our beaches in California. I think you'll really like it.
That old Prague to Omaha to UMass pipeline. It's alive and well. So another Czech goaltender in the system for the Utah Mammoth. We'll see what unfolds for Michael Hrabal in Tucson. Some more news on Wednesday. Daniil Boot called up from the Tucson Roadrunners. AD, you've got a better pulse on us or on this than I do. But looking at Boot's numbers, had been really good. 4 goals in his last 4 games, 9 points in his last 4 games. He's been a point-a-game guy basically ever since he's been in the AHL. He was when he got called up. He's been a point-a-game guy since he was last sent back down. But what do you make of this recall here and big Daniil Boot coming back up to the Mammoth?
He's been really good in Tucson. I was watching the games over the weekend when they were in Manitoba, and this power play goal we're showing for those of you on Mammoth Plus and YouTube is just kind of how he takes over a situation. He'll have the puck out on the perimeter, drive to the net, and score. And on Monday night, I was watching the Roadrunners game with my parents after dinner, and I said, Dad, just watch number 50. That's it. Just watch number 50. It's all you need to see right now. Tucson was going on the power play, and he takes over. He takes charge. And hearing from some folks in Tucson, the messaging is they're not going to be the same without him. His size and strength is obvious, but he's a game breaker. He takes over, especially on the power play. He allowed him to compete every single night in every single game. And the Roadrunners swept Manitoba, who was a good team in the Central Division. They're a playoff team, went up there, took both games pretty handily. But it was a series where every time something tilted in the game was because Daniil Boot took over the game and made a play. And some final words from some sources in Tucson. The difference, the progress that he's made, during the course of a season, more confident both with and without the puck, but best player on the ice for the Roadrunners pretty much every single night. He wore number 50 there, number 19 here with Utah, but getting recalled. And, a guy, Mike, started the season down there.
Yeah.
Great start to the season, came up, played with us, went back down there and picked up where he left off and was even better, which is the sign of a prospect that you believe in and they believe in you and your organization and their process forward.
Yeah, easy for guys to get dejected upon getting sent down once they do reach the NHL. But 7 points in 28 games for Daniil Boot while he was with the Mammoth. Last played on January 31st against Dallas. And Adrian, at first when I saw this, I was thinking, oh man, this could be bad for Barrett Hayton. And then I realized roster limits no longer in play after the trade deadline. So usually there's a 23-man roster limit. Past the trade deadline, teams can expand that. You still have to be cap compliant, but you can expand that roster beyond 23 players. So don't want people thinking that this Daniil Boot call-up is specifically one-to-one linked to Barrett Hayton leaving the game on Tuesday night against Edmonton. Boot's been playing well, and it's going to be all hands on deck here for this playoff push.
Yeah, that's a great point, Mike. Thanks for making that, because obviously it's our second year of the NHL and we haven't, been through this situation before. 2 nights after, one of our centermen leaves and doesn't return. So the latest word we got from Bear was after the game on Tuesday night. He said further evaluation will take place in the next day or so.
Well, it's a big one tonight. I mean, they're all big this time of year, but it's a great opportunity for the Mammoths to bounce back tonight against Washington. Real quick, before we get to the Caps, Adrian, did you happen to see the prospect report that David Piper sent out? Because there's a name on there that I have not seen before, and I did some digging, and I'm like, why have I not seen this name before? Yegor Borikov from Belarus, a 4th-round draft pick in the 2025 draft. I'm looking at this guy, and as a teenager last year, he scored 12 goals in the KHL regular season. He's playing over in Russia, or in Belarus, but in the Russian league. Then he scored 7 goals in 11 playoff games last year in the KHL. This is all while getting 0 power play time, by the way. This year, he's got 16 goals in the regular season with Dynamo Minsk in Belarus. And then he scored in the playoffs in the first game for Dynamo Minsk. So he's ripping up the KHL as he's 19 years old right now. He's a teenager, but he was a 4th-round pick. I'm like, I've never heard of this guy, but he's having an unreal season in one of the best leagues in the world, the KHL.
Yeah, first time he's popped up in our prospect report. And Mike, he's a 20-year-old, 6'1", 187.
20. Okay.
But he's having a great year. So just another one that our amateur scouting staff, how much pride they take in finding, guys like Caleb Denoye, right? That was a pick that the Mammoth were adamant about making. But then you get into the 2nd, 3rd, 4th rounds and you find your guys, and you've got scouts that want their guys.
Yeah.
And I can just imagine the scout at the table in the 4th round and the scout now as his boy ends up at the prospect report. Like, yeah, that's what I said.
So Yegor Borikov out of Belarus. Keep an eye on him. He's doing very well playing against men. All right, we should set up this Washington matchup here quickly. Adrian, Caps, as we record this on Wednesday, 6 points out of a playoff spot in the Eastern Conference. They would be the 2nd wildcard team in the West. They've been really good at home, but have really struggled on the road this year, tied for the 3rd fewest road wins. Last time these two teams met on March 3rd, the Mammoth won 3-2. Capitals are coming off a 3-0 shutout loss on Tuesday against the St. Louis Blues. Capitals still have a chance, AD, but they gotta, I don't want to say win out, but pretty close to it. They have to go on some kind of run here.
Yeah, and we were talking about it on Tuesday, Mike. Alexander Ovechkin. This could be the last season for him. Retirement speculation. They traded away one of his long time teammates, John Carlson. Remember when the Mammoth or the Utah Hockey Club, as it were in DC last year in February? They honored John Carlson for 1,000 games with the Caps. He's a trade deadline acquisition at Anaheim. Just had a 3-point night with the Ducks, so they lose him. Logan Thompson has kind of taken over as their starting goalie. Remember?
He's been their best player.
Yeah. A kid that was in Vegas, and they traded him. They chose Aiden Hill to keep and to make the cornerstone goaltender. And Logan Thompson earning a long-term deal last year, a 2.37 goals against average, a save percentage of .915. Mike, where they've struggled on the road is scoring goals. They're almost half a game less they're averaging. Their power play struggled 16.4%, which you think, oh, you got Alexander Ovechkin, you must be around 30%. It's struggled. 6 points out of a playoff spot, but that the offense as a whole, they don't have a single player over the 60-point mark, and nobody with 30 goals. Ovechkin leading the way with 53 points in 76 games. So, I've got a soft spot for Pittsburgh with Sid the Kid and Evgeny Malkin and Chris Letang, and the years have added up for him, and the end is closer than the beginning. And same thing with Ovechkin and Washington. And I think Spencer Carberry getting that group into the playoffs at the last second 2 years ago, and having the record they did last year, best record in the Eastern Conference. It's kind of a group out east that kind of follow and root for.
Yeah, and with that core fading away or being traded away, but with the core that's still there fading, they need a little bit more out of their younger players, and they do have some nice young players. Ryan Leonard, they're excited about Cole Hudson, a young defenseman who just joined after his season ended with Boston University. He is Lane Hudson's younger brother, so he's played 4 games in Washington so far, and has had a couple good moments, some good flashes. I've only seen the highlights so far on him, but the return seemed good at the start. He's got a couple points so far, kind of like his brother AD. He's a smaller defenseman, uses his skating and speed to his advantage, but they're trying to sell the future right now in Caps land out in our nation's capital, and they've got some young guys that are coming up. They've got Alexi Protas's younger brother, who's making his way up as well. So they've got some good young players, but they probably need a little bit more out of that younger group. But Ovechkin's still doing it, lead the team in goals, as you said. One of my favorite Ovi stats is that since turning 35, his scoring rate is a goal every 2 games. Like since he's turned 35, he's averaging like 41 goals per 82 games. So he's scoring every other night. They got shut out against St. Louis, so I guess that means he's due against the Mammoth tonight. Remember, he scored 2 goals in this building last year when the Capitals were in town. Also had that tangle with Jack McBain that took him out for a few weeks. Everybody was mad at the Mammoth for potentially ruining Ovi's goal chase, the great chase, as they say, but he still somehow got it. He played a hard game for a long time, Adrian. Not as much anymore, but played really hard for a long time and didn't miss much time due to injury. His longevity is almost as impressive as the goal scoring.
Mike, when he got hurt last year at the Dulles Center, it's like, is he going to break the record now? Probably not,
Yeah.
right? Everybody completely discounted that. And then he comes back way ahead of schedule. What did he miss? It seemed like less than 2 months, 6 weeks.
He
was back.
fractured his leg. I think he missed 19 games. Like it felt ridiculous.
So Mammoth just saw the Caps for the first time this year on March 3rd. Led from tape to tape. Dylan Guenther got the scoring started, his 28th in the first period. Mikhail Sergachev on the power play. JJ Peterka added a power play goal. Mammoth went 2 for 2 on the power play against the Caps, but Mike, kind of a signature win to start what was really a nice trip for Utah going in. The Caps were within a couple points of a playoff position at the time, and the Mammoth, coming off of that disappointing 4-0 loss to Chicago, really went in there and played a nice game, led for all but about 10 minutes when it was scoreless.
Yeah, I really liked the details in that game for the Mammoth, and I feel like we've seen that a few times this year where the bounce back game for Utah, it's not always a blowout. Sometimes it's a 4-3, a 3-2, a 2-1 win, a win where you kind of put your work boots on and you're not worried about the frills. You're not worried about the highlight reel plays. It's just like, okay, let's get to the controllables that we can dominate in, using our speed to take away time and space. And Capitals didn't have much in that game, and it wasn't like the Mammoth had a ton either. But I think the Mammoth would like to see another one of those kind of, I don't want to say rock fights, but low scoring games where you're controlling and letting your skill create the chances instead of pressing to try and create chances.
Yeah, so Utah has been a pretty good team responding after games like they had on Tuesday night. So last game of the homestand before they hit the road, we'll see if we can get another patented Mammoth response.
Big one tonight. Don't feel shy about coming up and saying hi to us at the top of Section 7, as we've had a bunch of people do during this homestand. AD, we should get to Dave Joseph here. We had a packed first segment here. We've kept Dave waiting long enough. Great chat with the public address announcer of the Utah Mammoth, Dave Joseph. He is our Thursday expert There is nobody who is a sharper expert at creating the atmosphere that we all know and love inside the Delta Center. Here's Dave.
Expert analysis, expert opinions.
Very special edition of our Thursday Expert Show, because today we have borrowed about 15 minutes worth of time with the voice of the Delta Center, the maestro of Utah's Cathedral in downtown Salt Lake City. Dave Joseph, the public address announcer for the Utah Mammoth, joins us now. Dave, thanks for joining us. We'll get to all the game ops questions, your background here. My first question, though, for you, and I didn't know this until recently, but you are a Hofstra alum. How far did you have the Hofstra pride in the 2026 men's basketball tournament?
I had them winning one game, the first round game. I thought they were going to pull the upset, and then nothing after that. But with Craig Speedy Claxton at the helm for the Hofstra Pride, Nave Flying Dutchman when I was there back in the mid-'90s, you never know what could happen, but unfortunately it wasn't to be.
I had them into the Sweet 16. I had them past Alabama.
Did you really?
Texas. I was all in. They were up on Bama by like 10 in the first half. I thought I was a genius, but alas, it was not meant to be. Now, you played hockey there. Is that right?
I did. I played, it was Division II ACHA club hockey, 4 years, captained my senior year, and just had a blast for those 4 years. Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Position?
The good old days. The good old days.
What position were you? What kind of player were you, Dave?
Defense. I spent a lot of time in the penalty box. But keep in mind, this is the mid-'90s. So we're talking about like clutch and grab and hook and hold and anything goes back in the mid-'90s. That's the way it was when you played. Imagine club hockey, not just like Division I hockey. Imagine club hockey, how bad that was. It was pretty rough and tumble back then, but a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
And you're also you're a Youper as well, right?
Yeah.
Are
I
you
am.
do you play euchre, the card game, at all as a Michigander?
I've never played euchre. However, I'm a
Oh.
fan of Bob Euchre. Does that count?
Okay. Yeah.
The Brewers,
it's
former
close
Brewers
enough.
announcer.
Close
Yeah.
enough, I
No, I never
guess.
played euchre. I played cribbage. You ever play cribbage?
Another very Midwestern game. Not a big cribbage
Thank you.
guy, but euchre's more my speed. You only need 4 people to play euchre. I think I've found 2 others in the entire state of Utah who can play euchre.
I'll have to learn how to play euchre. For those who don't know, a Youper is a person who's from the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. So abbreviated, it's a Youper. And then the folks who live below the Mackinac Bridge in the Lower Peninsula of Michigan are called trolls. We call them trolls. Yeah. Very lovingly. It's not a bad
Oh,
thing.
of course.
They
of
live under
course.
the bridge, so they're trolls. Yeah.
Well, Dave, from the Mackinac Peaches to hockey at Hofstra
Mackinac
to Salt
Peaches.
Lake City, tell us about everything in between. How did you join us here to become our in-arena announcer for the NHL in Utah?
Yeah, it's been a heck of a ride. It was New York for 7 years. After going to Hofstra, I stayed in New York, worked in New York City radio at WABC Radio in New York City for 3 years after graduating. Moved to Providence for a year, spent a year there. Moved to LA for 20 years, and that's where I hooked up with the LA Kings. And I was their PA announcer from 2013 after the lockout season, the shortened season in 2013 until 2020. So I've won Stanley Cup in 2014 with the Kings. Moved to Nashville for 4 years after that. And then when this job became available, I applied. Knock on wood, fortunate enough to get it. And here I am a year and a half, almost 2 years later, and never happier.
So you were there for the Cup in 2014 with the LA Kings, and if we can even tie this into the Mammoth now with Utah pushing for the playoffs, like tell us what is it like to be on your side of things during a playoff push, during a Stanley Cup push?
Yeah, everything's ratcheted up. I want to say a notch, but it's like 10 notches. The music's louder in the building. The fans are louder. The players are more dialed in. It's more intense. Everything goes from like it feels like it's a 9 or a 10 now, and it feels like it's taken to like a level 12 or 13. especially that first round, because the first round, if you haven't been to the playoffs in a while or you've never made a playoff run, that first round is just, man, it's you walk into the building, you know it's something's different. Something is different. And I don't just mean from my perspective or your guys' perspective, calling the game or doing pregame, postgame, whatever it is. The fans know as soon as they walk in that building, it is different. There's a different energy. There's a different vibe. And I don't want to pump it up too much. I don't think you're going to be disappointed. It's something I've never seen before. And you don't know it until you feel it and you go through it in person and you say, wow, this is playoff hockey. This is intense. This is great.
Dave, how would you describe what's been created as the arena atmosphere at the Delta Center? I know our first ever game on Tuesday, October 8th, I couldn't sleep. I've never experienced anything like that in my entire life. I'm like, how am I going to do this job every single game without, some kind of major medical episode? Because I am so wired right now. I don't know what to do. And the next day I was still bouncing off the walls, and it took a while to wear off the euphoria of our first game and what the Delta Center has become.
2 words, prescription pharmaceuticals. That's what I found really keeps it all in check. No, I think it's just that adjustment. I was the same way. A couple of days leading up to that first game, it was, how is this going to go? Who are these guys? Everyone's kind of new. We were all new to each other at the time. The staff was getting to know each other. The players were getting to know, management. Management's getting to know the players. The fans were getting to know everybody. And it was just kind of a settling in. I hope you've settled in by now, Adrian. I think you have.
As good as I will, yes.
Yeah. But no, I think it was just, you got to get over that first. There's that initial exhilaration, that initial buzz that didn't wear off for probably, I know, a week for me, where I was thinking, wow, this is crazy. And that first goal, the Dylan Gunther goal, and I thought the roof was going to come off Delta Center, the Delta Center. And I thought, this place is electric. This is electric, this building. And it's been like that ever since.
When you came over and first started in Utah, how did you kind of did your voice or your call of the game change from what it was previously in LA? Did you try and do some new things that were unique to Utah? And then along with that, with new players, how do you come up with the way, say, that you announce their names, right? Because each guy has a unique way that you announce his names, and that is kind of etched into people's minds when they come to the Delta Center.
Yeah, to answer the first part, I didn't really change a whole lot. My style was pretty much the same. That's the way I've always been, kind of a high energy. I don't have, the big, huge, booming voice of God that some PA announcers have. I'm not fortunate enough to have that, so I have to make up for it, I guess you'd say, in other ways. So I try to bring an energy, and hopefully the fans can feed off that. So I didn't change a whole lot, because that's the way I would call games in LA. And just one example would be in LA, I would say, starting on defense, number 8, and then I'd say Drew Doughty, and then the whole crowd picked up on it. So it was Drew every time Drew touched the puck, or every time Drew, scored a goal. So it's the same thing here. When I saw Logan Cooley, I thought, well, that's immediately, there's my first one, right? That's a no-brainer for me, because that's what I would do. Ironically, I called the Frozen Four in Tampa when Logan Cooley played in that game for the University of Minnesota. He scored in that game, so I got to do it then. So that was the first time before he was even a member of the Mammoth, so I got to call that. Long story there. But to your point, I go through the roster and kind of look at the names and say them out loud, and whatever kind of sticks from saying the name a couple of times over, that stays with me, and then I kind of develop it as I hear it in the building. So the first time I say a name may change to the second time I say the name, but then it pretty much sticks because I have a feeling of how it's going to sound. So for instance, like a Mikhail Sergachev is just, he's just a fantastic hockey player. And he's just like, I love everything about the guy, the way he plays. He's like a manly, I don't know how to describe it, like Lawson Krause, same thing. So when you hear Mikhail Sergachev, it's Mikhail Sergachev. Like he just, I don't know, he brings up something inside of me that makes me want to say that. So same thing with Veggie, the Karel Vejmelka, same thing. Or with JJ, who else on the team has two initials? He's the only one with two initials. So I thought, well, anyone could say JJ Peterka, but what sets it apart is when you say J Peterka, it sets it apart. And then people go, well, that's different. I haven't heard that before. So it's kind of just a different take on the way someone would normally say it.
Dave, if you've come from LA to Salt Lake in the NHL, any past experiences with any of our current guys? I think Sean Dursey probably came along after you had already gone to Nashville, but what about Trevor Lewis, the Utah that won the Stanley Cup in 2014 with the Kings?
He was fantastic in 2014. And he was there in 2012 as well, if I believe.
Yep.
And had both of those playoff years were unbelievable. Utah guy, filled that role during the regular season where you're like, we need this guy. And then in the playoffs took his game to a whole different level. Just a fantastic guy. And yeah, Sean Dursey was there. I believe he was in Ontario when I was there. So I may have called a couple of games with him because I also was the PA announcer for the Ontario Reign, the minor league team for the Kings. So I did both teams, which was about 70 games a season. So I got to call some of his games there from what I remember. And I think maybe was Connor there, the goaltender as well? He might have been there for a short spell. I don't remember. But yeah, that's about it. That's about all the crossover that has been, I think.
Peel the curtain back a little bit for us. Like what do you have in front of you? And can you kind of explain? I never worked in game ops, but I've been adjacent to it in the minor league.
Sure.
And I am terrified of it because it is a highly regimented discipline that I don't know how well I think I would sink in that field. But can you kind of explain to us what you have in front of you, what is in your ear, and who's working around you to make the show that we see at the Delta Center?
Sure. So what I have in front of me is the roster that you guys have, right? The roster that the NHL puts out. So I have both teams. And then I have a score sheet, much like you probably have a score sheet, I'm sure, where you're keeping track of goals and assists and penalties and all that good stuff, who the officials are and whatever else you can possibly think of. I couldn't do what you do because you guys have all the stats and the background information and all that. I mean, I've got milestones, but I don't have how you guys get deep. You guys get into some deep stuff where I think I would sink because you guys are so prepared. It blows my mind when I see your Mike Fulta's across from me holding the board. He's got the manila folder out and he's got all the highlight, right? Am I right?
Yeah, that's what I got. Sometimes
I watch you. I watch.
I mean,
yeah, no, I couldn't do that. That's fantastic.
But like the pregame ceremonies and intermissions, like all that stuff is bang, 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 and it all has to be timed up, right?
Yeah, so that's all scripted. I also have the script in front of me, which is right to the second. What time we want to start things, what time things have to be over, what time we have to get to the anthem. What all these things are in little blocks. They're all segmented by time. So to my left is Bill Hoops, who calls the game. So Bill is in my ear, literally in my left ear, telling me, Dave, go, talk, speak, next. When we go to starting lineups, it's coach. I do Andre Tourigny. Left wing, he says left wing, I say it. Center, I say center. Right wing, I say right wing. So he's also cueing the people in the control room to put up the graphic on the screen for the player's headshot. So it's the same thing with a goal. When there's a goal called, I'll get a call in my ear from the official scorer, who's with the NHL. He'll give me 11 from 92 and 88. I give that to Bill Hoops to my left. He passes it to the control room, and then we all coordinate. Bill says, read the goal. I read the goal. You hear the sound effect. Player's headshot goes up on the board. I say the assist, player's headshot, second assist, player's headshot. There you go. So it's a kind of a combination of a bunch of different people together.
This is intense, Mike.
Yeah.
He's talking about like us knowing the stats. Like this is like being in a spaceship.
But it's a I tell you what, it's a cadence. You know what I mean? It's a feel that the goal comes in. Normally we know who scored the goal. We can see who scored, unless it was a deflection or something that they got to take a look at, and it takes a while to review it. normally we know it's 92 from 11 and 77, and we can wait for the official score to get. That's the other thing. If you think I'm waiting to read the goals, I'm not. It's coming from the official score from the National Hockey League, which gives me that information. And so it's all on them because it has to be official before we read it. So I can't say anything officially until it comes from the league. So the league then passes that information to me. I communicate it to my people, who communicate it to our people in the control room. They put it up on the scoreboard, so it's all in sync.
What are your favorite in-game items in the script, right? I always know that I've got some time to get back from my first intermission bathroom break when I hear Kickstart My Heart roll, right? And then that starts to fade down, and I'm like, okay, I got to be back. I got to get going here. What gets your heart pumping in the arena are nightly items that are in the script that happen each game.
You know what gets me every time is the starting lineup when we play Rush. I don't know, maybe it's Canadian band or whatever it is. It's just, like whenever I hear that and Slep, the guy who runs a game presentation, Chris Slepakura, who's fantastic, unbelievable, has done a great job since coming in late last year. He's picked out this music and man, it resonates. I don't know if it's just me and the time I grew up, or again, Canadian band, hockey related, whatever. Like whenever I hear that song, it's just like, okay, this is game time. Here we go. Starting lineups. And then whatever, we hear, hey, hey, hey. And like the first song comes on, you're like, oh boy, here we go. Now we're getting started. Let's get this cranked up. I like birthdays. No, that's just kidding. Just kidding. Birthdays in groups.
Really gets the people going. That scroll on the video board,
They love it. They love it. No, gosh, there's so many things that the contests are great. Are the contests not great? They gave away a truck last night. Like that was unbelievable. I love that. Ken Garf pucks for trucks is great. The puck game where it flips around and you got to follow it. I don't know how people follow that. I always lose it. So I don't know. I don't know if you guys play along. I play along. I can never follow it.
I know you guys run a tight ship, and I also know from just being adjacent to game ops, and it's the same way with us on radio. A lot of times that we mess up, we're the only ones that notice it, even though it drives us crazy. And I'm sure there are imperfect moments in the game ops world, but have there been any funny snafus here in Utah that now looking back upon them, you can laugh at them?
Mike, they're never funny, man. They're never funny in my head. As you know, I'm sure. I looked, the other night, I think I read a penalty and I didn't read the guy's last name for when we were playing Anaheim. I think I just said his number. And I went home and I was like, did I just do that? I've never done that. But I don't know that anyone noticed. So maybe it didn't happen. I don't know. But maybe I dreamt it. But there have been times like that or times where, gosh, I'm trying to think of something that happened this year. I can't, nothing's coming to mind, but there have been little things that have happened where we've recovered, and then you go home, you drive home and you're like, why did I do that? Why did that happen? Or how can I prevent that from happening again? And gosh, I hope nobody noticed.
No stories. It sounds like the Mammoth Game Ops crew is batting 1,000. Sounds like you guys are pitching the perfect game.
The rest of the game ops crew's batting 1,000. Me, I don't know about that. There have been plenty of what is going on here, Dave. Yeah, that's happened a few times.
You know what Mike will do, Dave?
Please.
He's got this notebook, and when Mike goes for the notebook and opens it up, writes stuff down, I'm like, we are so screwed.
I just keep a little journal of what's going on in the game. It's not all bad, Adrian. Some of it's good, but
it's what went wrong. Is that what it is? You write down what went wrong.
What went wrong? Yeah, it's my way of externally.
When he reaches for the notebook, it's like
you're like, oh no,
what did I just do?
I didn't realize you picked up on that, but
I do.
Oh, your turn, AD, or can I go again here?
Yeah, go. By all means, I don't want you to get out the notebook here on Mammoth Daily.
I never have Dave on again.
Exactly. I saw, you were an inspiration, Dave, the other night because I saw you with some blue hair, which is a little
Oh, yeah.
unusual for you, and I made sure to acquire a blue wig as well. Some of our great fans were doing the wigs for weeks. It's kind of a fun way of trying to make Mackenzie Weegar feel at home. What have been some of your like best fan interactions? I know you had that one with the wig. What other interactions have you had with fans that you've had that where you can tell like, okay, this is pretty cool. It feels like I'm part of this community now.
Yeah, I think one of the first games I did, there was a season ticket holder, Shane, who came over. And Shane is the guy, if you don't know Shane, Shane's the guy who wears the mammoth necklace. And he's always waving his rally towel. And he's got a different jersey on every game. He came over one of the first games and he points to me and he goes, "You're the guy. You're the guy." And I'm like, hopefully I'm the wrong guy, but what do you got? He's like, "You're the guy that talks. You're the guy that's on the mic. I know you." And I'm like, "Okay, what's your name?" He said, "I'm Shane." I'm like, "Hey, I'm Dave. Nice to meet you." He's like, "You need to sign this puck." So I signed a puck for him. And I thought, that's unbelievable. First of all, that he knew who I was. Like, how does he know? I mean, he sat a section over from where we were and he was watching, but for him to pay attention and know and come over and say hello, that was like, "Hey, welcome to Utah." "Hey, well, thank you." Well, guess who chats with me every game? Shane comes by to say hello and we fist bump and we say, let's go Mammoth. Um, he was the very first one. I'll never forget that. That stayed with me the whole time. And then there's other season ticket holders who come by and I don't know their names yet. I will. And we'll fist bump before the game. Men, women, some kids, Greg and Karen, two season ticket holders who sit a section over. They come by every single game and they're the most fantastic people and they love the Mammoth and they wear their jerseys and they show up every game and they love to be there. And it's this whole thing to be there, like you guys know, right? The game's at 7, doors open at 5 for the lucky people who are America First Credit Union, whatever it is, card holders. They can get in early, half hour before everyone else. People are there at 5 o'clock and they go down to the ice and they wait for warm-ups for an hour and a half. I mean, that's dedication.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. I love that. So every time I see people come in by me, it's, "Hey, how you doing? Welcome. Let's bring it tonight. Are you ready? Here we go. We're going to have a fantastic game." So I love that. I love meeting the fans. I love when they come down and say hello. And hey, I'm there anytime. Anyone wants to come by and say hello. Rocking the wig, man. I don't know if I looked as good as you. You had the long hair. I had the shorter version of the blue hair. You had the longer, like, mullet.
You had a nice coif. Yours was
On
more
the top, yeah.
finely tuned.
Yeah.
Mine was more like, 80s rock or something like that. There was like some funk to my style.
Yeah, yours was pretty cool. I like that. And I think they're doing, if I'm not mistaken, I think they're doing a sheriff night for Lawson Krause.
Yes.
They're going to do like a Western theme.
I got the text from one of our friends, Michael Johnson. They're doing April 11th is Shout Out the Sheriff Night. It's a badge up and dress in your best Western style sheriff duds. So there you go.
Have to get some chaps for that game. Chaps and a hat.
Some leather. Yeah, I got a belt buckle. I'll bring that. But
big belt buckle, big one.
Oh yeah, it's a big one. I have a friend who competes in rodeos and she said if you buy a belt buckle, you're a fraud because belt buckles are like trophies in rodeos. Like you have to win them. So if you buy one, it's stolen valor. So hand up, fraud. But
gotcha.
I will be wearing it though. I will be wearing for support the show.
Mike Fulta, fraud. You heard it here first.
Yes, exactly.
Dave, last one from me. What are you doing for dinner on the Delta Center concourse? You have a go-to every night?
Yes, pizza.
Moz?
I go pizza. Moz
pizza?
Moz pizza. Although I will say last night I did Cubby's. I did the tri-tip sandwich at Cubby's, which was marvelous with the barbecue sauce on it. And then I'm located at, my position is over by J-Dogs, which makes it very easy for me to get there. So I try to do like a rotation. Most of the time it's the Moz pizza, but I'll rotate in the tri-tip sandwich and the J-Dogs dog and fries. And then you throw in the $2 Dasani water, which is great. You can't beat that. Yeah, those are my go-tos. Sometimes Chick-fil-A, although not open Sundays, so Sunday's not a Chick-fil-A day, but I'll do chicken sandwich or chicken nuggets and some fries maybe. Yeah. What about you guys?
We wander. Adrian's, I think, tried everything on the concourse. For a long time, I was an Honest Acai Bowl guy.
Oh,
I've been a Santorini's guy recently. I'm playing the field though. I've started to let Adrian order for me, which has been a little dangerous.
have
He'll
you
hand
tried
me
the
the
sushi?
The sushi's good. The sushi's good. I like.
Okay, I haven't tried that. That's my next one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're coming back from a break of the second period, Dave, and Michael sometimes just hand me the phone and say, "Here, order me something. Pick it." And we
That's
roll the
risky.
dice. But
Yeah, that's risky.
Santorini's has to be the go-to for me. The braised beef bowl. They've got the puffy pitas. They've got the stuffed gyro rolls. It's
Okay.
it's
I haven't
can't go
tried
wrong.
Santorini's yet, so that may be
Good.
tomorrow night. That may be tomorrow night.
It's a nice little change of pace. You get that Mediterranean flavor. It's good. It's really good. I
Yeah,
got one
I
more.
try
for
to
you. What's that?
I try to stay away from the dairy because dairy not good when you're talking all night. As you know,
Yeah,
gives you
yeah.
cotton mouth. It's not easy to get the juices flowing when you have the dairy. So stay away from dairy.
Oh, okay, maybe I have two more questions then. What's like your voice is your moneymaker. What's like what are the things you cannot consume?
Dairy, no dairy.
Okay,
Day of the
okay.
game, no dairy. Yeah, I'm
Really?
dairy free.
What about like
Yeah, I go
peanut butter?
no peanut butter.
Okay.
No peanut butter. And no nuts. Can't have nuts because they get lodged in your throat. They get stuck in your throat. Yeah,
Yeah.
not good. I try to stick to water.
Yep.
I usually have 2 cups of tea during the game, hot tea. And then before the game, I'll have black coffee just to kind of kickstart the system a little bit and get it going and get hyped up. Yeah.
New rule dairy. Okay, I like that. I was not on
Yeah,
that.
no.
But that's good intel.
Stay away from dairy. Yeah, stay away from dairy. Day of the game.
Okay, this is my actual last question, and I'm putting you on the spot a little bit, but
Yeah.
I heard just kind of a rumor through the grapevine, and I'm not asking for specifics, but I
Yep.
heard a little rumor through the grapevine that the Delta Center is going to continue to kick up its game presentation once we get to the playoffs. Can you confirm or deny these rumors, these allegations?
I can neither confirm nor deny those rumors or allegations.
Okay, I like it. We'll have to wait and see. We already have the new lasers and the new fog, though.
We do. And what do you think of the new intro?
It's good. Yes. The video. Yes, very good.
Not to put you on the spot, but yeah.
Honestly, I tell Adrian this, like, I don't even know what our goal horn sounds like. I don't even know. I can't even imagine our goal song because when we score, that's like the climax of my night. And so I am like so focused on what I'm saying that I like everything else is just like blacked out to me, basically.
Can I ask you a question about that?
Yeah.
So after we score, when do you write down that information? Do you write it as it happens, or do you wait until after you call the goal?
Yeah, call the goal. So he shoots, he scores, and then I try to like caption the moment. Like when Schmaltz batted that puck out of midair the other night, I said like break out the bench press because he like kind of outmuscled a couple guys. So I try to like throw something creative on it, and then add the details. Schmaltz ties the game he gives Utah the lead in the second period, then time and score, 10 minutes left, yada, yada. And then I take a break, and then I usually like bump Adrian on the arm or make eye contact with him. And that's when he kind of takes over. I take a breath, lean down, and I write it down for my own record book. And if it's bad, I write in the notebook.
And you remember the time of the goal and everything, or do you have that on a computer in front of you? Do you have
usually
like
it's
a laptop or something?
It's still frozen on the scoreboard, and I can just look it up. Yeah. So.
Oh, you get it that quickly. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
I wondered how that worked. Yeah.
Yeah, like you guys in game ops, batting 1,000 over here.
It's been perfect. Every broadcast I've heard of yours has been 100% perfect.
Thank you, Dave. This is why we brought you on. We're 30 minutes into this interview, and we finally have reached our goal here. So, Dave, seriously,
I love it.
Thanks for joining us. This is great. We'll have to do it again. Are you a State and Liberty guy? Suits?
Listen, I love State and Liberty. I have a 1A, 1B, and they have no, one could be 1A and the other 1B, switch as you will. State and Liberty, fantastic. They made the suit that has the Mammoth liner in it for me,
Yes.
which is unbelievable. Also, HM Cole,
Okay.
which is just at the mall
Yeah.
in downtown Salt Lake City. Fantastic suits there as well. A little
Really?
bit different. Yeah, HM Cole it's a little more refined, like a standard type suit,
Sure.
where the State Liberty is a little more sporty, a little more fashion forward, if you will. But I love them both. They are both, like I said, 1A, 1B. Either one can wear either. I usually rotate.
Yeah.
HM Cole one night, State Liberty the next night.
You got to use Nick Olczyk's discount code in State and Liberty.
I absolutely did the first time I walked in, and they said, "Are you with the Mammoth?" I said, "Yeah." They said, "Nick Olczyk shops here." I said, "Well, I need
Yeah.
give me that discount." Yeah, give me that discount.
Oh,
They charge me double. Yeah,
Exactly. I think he might be a part owner by now. Or at
I'm
least
sure
owns
he's got to
half their
be. He's got to
inventory.
be. He's got a good reputation there for sure.
Yeah, he does. Dave,
Yeah.
thank you, man. We'll do this again soon.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate you having me on.
This is Mammoth Daily.
Another thank you to Dave Joseph for joining us on our Thursday Expert Show. Always great to talk with him. And he is the maestro of the Delta Center, AD. He's the one that's whipping everybody up into a frenzy every night. And a lot of that, I tell you what, a good public address announcer can become iconic for fans. Like, I remember going to Purdue game. There's a guy, Carson Tucker, and he tries to stay out of the limelight, but I've met him and he's wonderful. And his voice, like, that is the soundtrack. That is the of my childhood. His voice at Purdue football and basketball games. And Dave Joseph is that for many of our fans.
He's a good one, Mike, and he's beloved. He can't walk on the concourse, and he's one of the best dressed guys in the building too.
No, thank you to Dave. We had a lot of big news earlier in the first segment, Adrian. We had even more news that we didn't get to in the first segment. We're getting to it now, and maybe we should have led with it. The Tusky plush toy is making its appearance at the Delta Center. Finally, we have toy Tuskies at the Utah Mammoth team store at the Delta Center. There appear to be 5 variations of the toy. Different sizes, different shapes. Adrian, which one would you go with if you're looking at this graphic out of the 5?
I like a cuddly Tusky. I think I'm taking the bottom middle. I like that.
That's good. I think I might go with his older brother, like the kind of the left, standing just above the 2 little ones, like a medium-sized Tusky. But I've already had people reach out requesting Tusky plush toys, like anticipating that they won't be able to get one. So I hope that's not the case. I hope everybody can get one. But I've already had people reach out asking, like, "Hey, can you hold one for me? Can you grab one when the shipment comes in?"
Has there been a mailbag question we've gotten more this year, Mike? When are the Tusky plushies coming out? And there they are, on sale today. Team Store, by the way, is open from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. on game days, and then they reopen at 5:30 to folks with tickets for the game. So if you don't have tickets for the game, get your Tusky plushies by 3:30. If you got tickets for the game, Team Store will reopen at 5:30. Mike, big week for Tusky. We got Doug Plagans on from the Nonsense on Ice podcast to talk about the Tusky trading card from Upper Deck, because he's got a Young Gun card, Mike. And we've got ours because our good buddy Walt secured 2 Tusky Young Stars from the Upper Deck series and dropped one off for each of us at the game last weekend. So we have secured the Tusky Young Star card. And thank you very much, Walt. And Walt wasn't the only one, Mike. There's been some other Tuskies that have been located Steven was able to get one. Said that card segment on Mammoth Daily was fun. Thank you. He says, I got into the hobby as a way to get familiar with not just the Mammoth, but players all over the league. And he says, I do have a Tusky, and I wasn't going to wait long to get that one. So he's got the Young Studs card too. Of
Great work, Steven.
Tusky.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And Walt, I appreciate the care given to this Tusky Young Guns card, because some barbarians would just put the card in like the thick plastic case, but Walt has taken the care to use the thin film sleeve to initially cover the card and then put it in the thicker plastic case. So this is going to be a mint condition Tusky rookie card, basically. I think the picture is right as he's coming out of the ice there.
The first time, probably.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So thank you to Walt. And so you've been able to get your Tusky cards from Upper Deck. Now you can get your Tusky toys as well. So a big week for our furry friend.
Have you seen the weights and measures on Tusky, Mike? 6'5". His weight is enough to break the ice. Breaking out of a block of ice, Tusky emerged as Utah's mascot ahead of the club's 25-26 home opener. After thousands of years, a mammoth is back on Utah's soil, and it plans on going tusks up for ages to come.
That's fantastic. Those are the stats on the back of the card?
Yeah.
I love that. That's great. I was a big card guy back in the day. I was baseball, football growing up. I think we talked about this a little bit.
Yeah.
But huge card.
And as Steven said right there, Mike, it's how we all learned players. Yes. And knew every single player in the league.
I never knew a sport as well as I knew Major League Baseball when I was like 11 and 12 from cards and from box scores in the paper every morning. Like I knew every player everywhere. It was awesome.
Mike, if the newspaper was not on the driveway when I got out of the shower, was dressed and ready for breakfast, that was a bad morning. That was because sometimes they're late, sometimes it's a substitute, sometimes the paper doesn't show, sometimes the snowstorm affected it. That was rough. But Mike, when I was a kid, like there'd be games on the West Coast that I couldn't stay up for. Like there was a big Lakers-Blazers game affecting the Jazz playoff race, and we didn't have cable till I was in 6th grade, and there wasn't internet, and the newspaper was the only way you'd find out. And would wake up, and that would be the day when they'd print the newspapers after all the games were done, and it's how you got your information. So trading cards and the Salt Lake Tribune sports section, Mike. That's how we got to
I could see you with a paper route. You wouldn't even need a bike. With the way you run, you could just run the paper to everybody's house.
You know what my hack was as a kid? My side job, my side hustle? Any guesses? It wasn't a paper route.
Is it outside?
Outside, yeah.
Does it involve running?
Nope. Didn't start that until I was an adult. I ran cross country in junior high, but I had asthma and it wasn't fun. So asthma went away in my 20s, and
grew out of it.
That's when I picked up the running.
Oh man, I really have no clue.
Shoveling snow, baby, with a shovel.
Yeah,
with a shovel.
Yeah. I tell you what, anybody needs a driveway shoveled, I'm there. I love shoveling snow. It's quiet. It's peaceful. It's a workout. I thoroughly enjoy shoveling snow. So that's an advertisement. That's my submission to Angie's List right there.
Yeah, I loved it, and with a shovel. No snow blowers at the Denny residence.
Shovel. Absolutely, manual.
No snow blowers at the Denny residence when you've got 2 boys that can handle it.
You got a couple able-bodied men. That's all you need. Ask not for a lighter load, but for a stronger back. Another Abraham Lincoln quote for you. Not actually. All right. Enough silliness here. A good episode, 80, and should be a fun game tonight against the Washington Capitals. Always exciting when you have the greatest goal scorer in NHL history in your building. So Mammoth will look to get back on track tonight against the Washington Capitals. You can tune into us on 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone and 1280 AM as well. You can also listen in on the KSL app and on the NHL app as well. So see everybody tonight at the Delta Center. We'll talk to everybody tonight, and we'll hope the Mammoth can pick up 2 points here and extend their lead in Wildcard 1.